Alright. Oh, there we go. Let's get a 30-minute game going. Black pieces. Here we see an E4 modern classic. We get to play the Caro-Kann. Hopefully we get to see sort of a more normal Caro-Kann. We might get to see... Nope. This is called the Hillbilly Attack. So it's probably takes, and this pawn is defended by the queen. So their bishop has to run away somewhere else. Maybe delivering check. In which case we bring out our knight. We'll bring out our knight anyways, most likely. Yep. Maybe we trade here. It's sort of ideal because then we get this c6 pawn that we can then push later. I really like that. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just look to develop normally. Normal Caro-Kann style. We'll get our light squared bishop out. Play e6. And then make some decisions about where to place our kingside pieces. In some variations, you are looking to trade your light square bishops, but since theirs is all the way over on the other side of the board, we won't be doing that this morning. Queen comes out. Protect the bishop. Nothing too crazy here. I know something we've seen in the past. I do like to get my bishop out here, then down to c7, then queen out to d6. Before we can do that, we do need to get castled. I learned, well, let's see if they develop and get castled. But we can review that. Okay, g4 on the board. So they're going to try to chase away our light squared bishop. But I think, I was going to say they've made a poor decision. I was thinking we could play bishop to e4, hitting both the queen and the rook. But they did develop their knight to c3. So if I play this, they can capture. And then we ruin our very nice pawn structure. So I think what I will do instead is drop back to g6. Excuse me. And then if they try to harass by playing h4, and then planning on playing h5, oh my. I'll finish that thought real quick. If they continue to harass the bishop by getting their pawn out to h5, we play h6 and then drop the bishop back into that nice pocket, and then it gets this nice long diagonal. Actually, I mean, I guess we could have just taken there. Oh well. I guess they could have trapped it with e3. We'll recapture. We'll be able to play c5. Not that it's really necessary. They're not putting any real pressure on our position. Their bishop, I don't know what they're planning on doing, might be coming out to f4. So I might get my bishop out to here. I'm not really looking to trade, but I'm looking to sort of sneak it onto c7. So what if we go like here? I'll probably play a3. We come back to maintain the pin, and then eventually we can go to c7. So that's sort of a long-term plan for a dark square bishop. I think we just need to be wary of shenanigans that they might try to pull against our undefended dark square bishop. Okay. So knight to e2. We'll develop our knight as well. I think we can do that safely. Get castled. Surprised they're castling with this pawn out on g4. I feel like that's a little bit of a weakness in their position. We have this nice attacking file. To the point where I'm considering, do we even need to castle? So if we play something like h5, they take, we take. We have this nice threat against their queen. A lesson I picked up from the last game was to try to hold off on tactics or clever ideas or attacks until our development is done. I think our development is just about done. I guess we could proceed with our plan to get the bishop onto c7, queen onto d6. Boy, that is tempting. Let's do like a delaying move. Queen to d6, I think we can play without um, any real risk. I don't see a way that they can threaten us. Delaying castling until I guess they can hit us with bishop to f4, which I wouldn't love. We do have f or e5 in response. This is very interesting. Yes, that's what I wanted to see. So an opportunity to drop our bishop back, sort of pretending to fall back and also preparing c7. And if we get that on the board, then we have just this rocket ship cannonball of a queen over to h2, delivering checkmate. So let's drop back. And if they play b4, just dream come true. Oh gosh, well, if you insist. And since they've pushed forward their g-pawn, I don't know if they have a way to stop this. They're going to have to put a piece in the way. If they even see the impending checkmate, this might be a very quick game this morning. Let's see. So what do they need to do? They need to... Okay. Well, shucks. That was very exciting for a moment there. I don't mind e5 here. And then if they would need to move their bishop out of the way. Maybe back. So yeah, if we play e5, we push their bishop back a little bit. And then we can make a decision about how to castle. Let's do that. Oh, I guess the game continues. What an exciting morning. All right. Let's think. We've got the bishop pair. My light squared bishop is sort of awkwardly positioned. These staring down these pawns, yeah, so they drop back. Should we play h5 here? Also looking at castling queenside. There's this gap on b7 that is not very appealing. We also play f5. They take with the pawn, we take with the bishop, which is protected by the knight. King is feeling a little breezy out in the open. I guess if we castle kingside, that gets the rook to this f8 square where it's x-raying the queen, which is hanging. And then I don't think f5 is a bad idea, honestly. So let's, yeah, get our king to safety. They don't have any immediate ideas of getting the queen out onto here, because they played this g4 move to harass our light squared bishop. So we could take this for free. They're clearly planning on taking here to threaten our queen. This does allow us to play bishop to, what is this, e4, threatening their queen. And then, how does this work? I don't love that actually. So if I play bishop to f4, they take our pawn, threatening our queen. We take their queen. They take our queen. We take their knight. they take our knight, we take their rook, they take our rook, promoting to, you know, like a queen or something, and then I guess we both recapture. But at the end of the day, we lose the piece that we're doing this with, the bishop, and they lose just a pawn. So they're up the minor piece. So I don't want that to happen. We could play f6 here, preparing for the exchange, and then if that happens, it opens up the f file for attacking. Yeah, I like that idea. Do we have any other options? It would just take this pawn for free, which I don't like, because we would need to sort of get our queen out of the way. They don't have a light squared bishop, so even if we open this up by getting rid of our f-pawn, I don't think that causes any problems. The rooks are connected. Yeah, let's play f6. And then I think we start to look at how do we generate threats against their king. Are there any other tactical options that we can do? They're certainly not taking now. We have this nice defensive structure. I think maybe we do get our queen out of the way anyways. You drop back to d7, sort of maintaining this defense over our knight and our bishop. We drop back here. What can we start to do? Actually, if they make just like an innocuous, like pawn to a4 or whatever, then we could take this pawn. I like the idea of just snapping up some pawns if we get the opportunity. If they play this, I don't think they're going to play a4, but then this would also be hanging and gets her queen out of danger. Probably respond like that. Let's see what our opponent comes up with. This nice defensive structure. Okay, so they play, what's this? b5, threatening the base of our pawn chain. I'm not very worried about this. If they take, we can recapture with the knight. I think that's a slightly better square for the knight anyways. Or advanced a little bit. I don't... That's unappealing. That idea. So after we get our knight to c6, I don't like that as much. Or if they push, then we capture on b6, opening up this rook for dangerous ideas, and creating, like connecting these pawns. This pawn is isolated right now, and that capture would connect it with all these other ones. So I like that. I'm not worried about this move. Let's just take this free pawn. So there's this idea too. If they threaten our bishop, we move back to here. Knight captures, pawn captures, probably queen captures. I think that loses its pawn, actually. And it sort of weakens this nice defensive structure that we have. So I think I would hold off on that. So if they threaten our bishop, we just scoot it back to g6. No harm, no foul. I'm fine with playing a nice defensive position for a little bit. Okay, so they take. We get to capture with our knight. I don't think this is serving any like critical defensive purpose. Actually, hey, there's something. So let's look at that. So if I capture here, I miss this. They're able to take this pawn. I think then I can move my bishop. We can do that plan we talked about just a minute ago. Now that the square is no longer defended by the knight, we can move our bishop back, forking the queen and the hanging knight. Oh, great. Okay, so this feels like a neat tactical find. Expecting to see bishop takes d5, and then we can shuffle our bishop back to e4. Ooh, they take with the queen. Okay. I feel like we need to take back with the queen rather than like moving our king out of check. Yeah, certainly don't want to play queen to e6, losing the queen. Let's do that. They take. And we'll take a moment to evaluate the resulting position, because that's a big change. The queens are off the board. We're down a pawn, so it's back to even. Their knight is hitting our hanging bishop. That's good to be aware of. So that's probably the priority, is moving this bishop out of danger. What's a good square for this bishop? Let's highlight the candidate options. Not here. Can't leave in place. This, actually, I like this idea. Bishop to b6. It is in the line of their knight, but we can recapture, and then we open up our rook. I mean, we could just move our rook too. It's not difficult. This I don't love. We're sort of staring down this pawn, but I don't think that does anything for us. Yeah, let's. Is there anywhere else we can go? Yeah, I like moving here. We're also hitting this pawn twice now. Let's see how badly they want the bishop pair. I don't see any forkable squares. Okay, so we're hit here. I think we move back. Darn, I really like that plan of forking the queen and the knight when that was an option. Oh, okay, so they're hitting two of our pieces. So I think there's a way to get one piece out of the line of fire. Well, that doesn't work, does it? Oh, geez. So my thought was, if we do knight takes d4, then we're getting our hanging knight out of the way and defending our bishop. However, they have their knight takes d4. Of course, we recapture and our bishop is hanging. We could drop our bishop back to e4, hitting their knight. So we move, they capture, we capture, and then we're capturing with tempo, so they would need to move their rook out of the way. You could also move to here. I like that a little bit less. I think this gives us an option to scare their rook away rather than allowing them to develop a rook. And then I think here we can win a pawn if they move their knight away. So I should be looking at like what squares their knight might go to. Wanders the knight. Wanders the knight. That's an option. They've got some. We can move their knight here. I don't know if that accomplishes anything. Oh no, we just recapture it. Okay. Let's see. Does our opponent want to further simplify? They do not. Okay. So they move back, hitting our bishop. So I wonder if we take here. Oh, that's nice. So if we take here, and then they take our hanging bishop, we take again, forking their queen and their king and their rook. And their bishop, for what it's worth. But yeah, let's pick up this pawn. If they recapture... Oh, maybe I didn't calculate this right. Oh yeah, we're gonna lose a piece. Oh, I messed up. This has bitten me in previous games, not calculating the order of taking pieces. Alright, is this salvageable? Is there any way we can recapture a piece and threaten another one of their pieces? I don't think so. So what are our options? We're gonna come over here. So let's look at our recapture options. We can recapture with the bishop, or we can recapture with the pawn. Neither of these serve to defend the e4 square, so our bishop remains hanging. We could move to threaten one of their pieces. Sort of an intermezzo. It doesn't come with check. But if we move to threaten one of their pieces, I think they have knight drops back to e2. I mean, we can take it, but then they recapture, and then we're down. We're still down a piece. Because we're down a piece right now. We need to capture this plus something else. If we go here and they take, we can come over here and fork their rook and their pawn, so we get another pawn for the exchange. Jeez. Can we threaten? I don't think we can threaten checkmate. We're sort of staring into their protected area here. So if we moved a rook out here, well, no, that wouldn't work. Gosh. Biffed it. So maybe we recapture and then fork their rook and their pawn. I think that's the best we can do with the time allotted. Alright, I should have taken more time to calculate that. We lose our light squared bishop. And then we fork. Okay. Okay, so we're down a piece. Not looking great. At least they can't defend this, so I think we do win this pawn. Shucks. Okay. Well, we'll keep playing. We'll see what we can come up with. We've lost the bishop pair. We're down a minor piece. I think the advantage we have going for us is we have this nice defensive fortification. We could consider moving everything up to light squares to take advantage of the fact that they only have a dark square bishop. Is there any danger in taking this? I don't think so. I don't see any way that they could generate like a serious threat. Alright, so we get the pawn. Poor compensation, I think, for the full bishop that we lost. But it evens the playing field just a smidge. So let's see. We do to recover. Do we bring our bishop back as like a defensive piece? We brought the rook out so they can pretty easily double their rooks on any one of these open files. So I think they're going to have pretty appealing attacking prospects pretty soon here. Advantages that we have, their dark squared bishop is sort of locked into here, and they'll need to make a couple of moves in order to be able to get it out. I don't want to break our nice pawn chain by doing this, so I think I will advance, force them to move their knight, and then I can advance this, and then later advance this. That gets all of our pawns into light squares, so their dark squared bishop, I guess, can move more freely, but won't be able to threaten any of those pieces. I mean, that is like another free pawn. No, it's not, because they have knight takes. So I think we made the right move here. This is hanging now, I guess. Whoops. So we need to move this. And then I think we need to get our rooks into the game and start harassing, if at all possible. Okay. Their bishop comes out. Okay, so their bishop has sort of been loosened by this maneuver. What are they trying to accomplish, though? This just gives up the bishop. Could get our rook into the game. Do they just want to come back to, like, a1 to get that nice, huge diagonal, and then bring, like, a... Yeah, like a rook down protected would be devastating. Okay, so good to be aware of that. So they're probably dropping back. We can make developing, harassing moves. I think we can try to hit their knight real quick by moving rook out. I think this rook probably to give our king a little more space to move. Not that these light squares can be impeded anytime soon. Probably knight out to here, and then we can develop our bishop to a slightly better square. And go here, threatening this. Not just threatening, pinning this f2 pawn. Or they could ignore the threat and proceed with rook to c7 and then threatening to take here. I would believe that they could deliver checkmate this way. I would need to look into it a little bit further once they make that move. So let's see what they come up with. I don't like that idea. So let's see. Let's explore that, because I've misjudged checkmating threats in the past. Rook to c7. Okay, yeah, so they just move their knight. Okay. Let's pin that. Well, actually, if we move here, they have this discovered attack on our bishop. So they could potentially, like, if I moved here... actually, let's do it. See what they come up with. We're a piece down, and our opponent has 20 minutes left on the clock. I think might be in a pretty good spot. We only have 12 minutes left. So we'll need to make some slightly faster decisions, see how long we can survive the game, or if we find some tricky tactic that allows us to wrest control of the game from our opponent. This popped up as an option. Pawn to h6, takes, king moves over to h8, and then we move a king or a rook over to g8. Hitting their king, I think. I mean, they have so many options. They can move the bishop back, they can just tuck back into h1. So I don't love that. Okay, they do the discovered attack. Trading is not in our favor here because we're down a piece. If we take here, they take there, and that opens up this attack, which I guess we could reinforce with G6. Do we want to give up our bishop? No, I don't think so. We could move our rook over here and then take. Let's do that. So let's reinforce bishop, get a discovered attack of our own. Also, getting this rook into the game. They take a pawn. Oh, darn. Discovered attack doesn't work as well, does it? And then they have this fork. We'll need to keep an eye on that. I thought it would be neat to check here, and then we get this discovered attack on this hanging rook. But if they capture like this, so it would be like check, capture, 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 and then we've just sacrificed a bishop. So I think we do want to keep an eye on this square here. I'm just going to move. Well, I think more effective is threatening the knight. Well, you go here. Oh gosh, they're getting into our position. So what are our options? We have G6. Move their knight here, not really doing much of anything. Could move our rook up here, threatening two of their pieces. But I think most realistic is they take here. Yeah, so if we threaten, they can take, we can take, they can take, we can take. I think that might be the option. So G6, they're likely to take. Okay. The other option that came to mind was this move, rook to D5. But I think they still have this threat of taking our bishop and then forking our king and our rook. And I guess if they let us take two, we have this teeny tiny pawn chain that can be an asset. So rook takes bishop, pawn takes knight, rook takes rook, rook takes rook. Okay, so they move there. I think that's sort of a strange move. This gives us an opportunity to try to double our rooks. We move up here, threatening their bishop. Is there anywhere their knight can go that poses like a serious problem? It's almost out of squares. So this could be an opportunity for us to win a knight. So here and here, lose the knight. Let's see. This would lose the knight. This, I don't think does anything, but that's their escape square basically. So I think, yeah, if we threaten their bishop, plus I don't think they have a way to defend their bishop. So they would just need to move realistically anywhere else. Okay, but it allows us to try to double our rooks. Too, and then if their bishop moves out of the way, we have this check. Okay, okay. Could be getting some initiative here. We have 8 minutes to figure out, can we do something? Also, if they retreat back this way, we get a free piece. take here, we get to double our rooks for free. I don't know why they would do that. They would just sacrifice the exchange. They are up a piece, so they have, I think they can afford to sacrifice an exchange, but I mean, when you're in this position, I think you need to play, expect that your opponent is going to be very dangerous, like we are attempting to be. So let's say they move out of the way. If they move to this square, we can't capture. Okay, great. Let's move out of the way. Capture with check. They can't move any pieces in front of it, so their king moves to h1. Another option now, well, no, that's not an option. We've discussed this. If we go here, they capture with their rook, and then I don't get that nice discovered attack on their rook. Is there anything I can do to sever the connection between these two pieces? I don't think so. Go here. I think we pick up this pawn first. Move the queen or king to h1. Buy us a minute to do something. Okay. Let's see. Could we, oh, so we have back rank mate ideas. What if we, no, that doesn't work. I was gonna say if we move over to this open file, we had like 10 moves uninterrupted. Move over to this open file, sacrifice the bishop, rook recaptures, we move up here, and then that's unstoppable checkmate. Could move here. This is interesting. If we move our bishop here to d4, they're likely to recapture our rook with check. We get their knight, and then they get our bishop. So we could trade 2 pieces for 1. That seems ill-advised. We push our pawn, they capture it. And then I guess we recapture it. Ooh, and then we could threaten checkmate. So let's look at that. Push, capture. Okay, we got 5 minutes to figure this out. Pawn sacrifice takes. This might be. They might find a way to checkmate us. Actually, we'll figure something out. But then this, I think, is. Oh no, they have their rook guarding the g1 square. Okay, so that doesn't work. Resume with our plan of doubling the rooks on an open file. We can move here and trade a rook for a knight and a bishop. Yeah, let's try to do that. Plans are few and far between here. Oh my gosh. So they fork our rooks with their knight. Can we do anything about this? I don't think so. We're just gonna lose a rook one way or another. Gosh. We have this check. Like rook sacrifice. Could push a pawn. move this rook out of harm's way, and then get a bishop. Now and then they recapture. Gotta do some fast thinking here. Can't align the rooks. What if we move here? They take. No, that threatens our rook. Gosh. If we move here, they take. We take here. And we have some sort of idea. I think with 3 minutes left in the clock, we gotta make a desperation play. So they'll move here. Okay. They take. I'm just sort of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Probably the better move for them would be to capture here. Okay, well, they didn't do that. And they can probably... Gosh. Yeah, I didn't calculate that out right. Bunch of missed calculations this day. I think I should have started out with some puzzles. Maybe it would be better to do a warm-up at the beginning of the day. Yeah, because if they capture here, then we recapture, and then they get 2 pieces for the price of 1, which seems to be the theme of the game. I think we just give up. Oh gosh, these are unforkable squares. So if they go up, down, okay, so we have to avoid that. So I think here we just need to give up the bishop and try to generate some sort of, gosh, promotion threat maybe? Get a rook over here so it's not forkable. Because our rook and our king are on opposite colored squares. I should try to push this bad boy up. Not my day. Play through to the end. Our opponent should... I've got 2 rooks on the board. They just get their 2 minor pieces out of the way. They should be able to generate a checkmate. Without too much of a hassle. See if we can't walk one of these pawns up the board. And sort of shelter our king in there. It's not good. Trying to get into the shelter of our pawns, which I think might be ill-advised. I guess we'll see. So after a dubious opening, our opponent had some really great tactical finds because I misjudged. Because I misjudged some tactics. Get out. Let's see, because I think if I push this pawn, they just have super easy ladder checkmate. Okay. I can't get out there. I guess they don't have the ladder checkmate anymore because they moved their rook over here. Let's do our best. Let's check. Okay, they'll drive me back. Take my pawn. I might get lucky with the draw. They have so many pieces on the board. Probably take my last pawn. They don't really have anything threatening these squares, so hopefully they can pull off the checkmate without too much hassle. Probably, oops, take the pawn. I'm not in stalemate. move their other rook up here, and then sort of like just quick ladder checkmate with rooks on the 3rd and 4 ranks. I don't think my king has time to get up there. But I'll be looking for opportunities to capture a piece if they misplace it. Okay, this is encouraging. If they're going to try to involve all of their pieces in the checkmate, that's probably not a great idea. What squares are available to my king right now? I just had one legal move there. Oh, I can move to h7. So they move like here. I think that would be stalemate. So there's certainly an opportunity to tie the game. I'm higher ranked than them, so I would still lose Elo. But I don't know. They might make a mistake here. I guess I do have this one pesky pawn move. Let's make that. Trying to bring all their pieces in for a checkmate. Thinking long and hard about each of their moves. So if they manage to cut off h7, oh no, then I guess I could take their rook. Okay, here we go. They're so close. They move here. No, that doesn't do it. I'm attacking their rook. They try to double their rooks. I think that's stalemate. You got to be able to execute these. Someday I'll have an opportunity to do just like a king and a rook checkmate. And then hopefully I can put my money where my mouth is and demonstrate how it's done. Okay. One legal move in this position. It's nice when you have the dots to look at and you can know exactly where your legal move is. There's not too much thinking required. This could be a very painful 10 minutes and 37 seconds. Is that checkmate? Yeah, I think. Nope, because they've created this little safe haven for me on g8. Killing me. Stalemate? No, because I can get out to f7. Gosh. I'll lose 3 elo if we draw. I don't have much commentary for this. I think the move is get your pieces out of the way. Move your rooks up to the top of the board. Just going to keep checking me. Escaping out to the center of the board. They're going to lose a piece pretty soon here. If they're not careful. Honestly, they have 9.5 minutes on the clock. They probably have time to look up a YouTube video for how to do a ladder checkmate. Watch it, process it, understand it, and then execute it. Let's fork their rook and their knight. I guess move either piece. I think they're going to lose something here. Nope. Oh, they're so close. Just get your knight out of the way. Walk your rooks down. Here we go. This is promising. well, that was a nice start. Escaping to the center. If they move their bishop, do they move anything else? Because this is stalemate. Oh, I did not outplay my opponent. They messed up a super easy checkmate after I blundered all of my pieces. Let's look at the review. Let's pop up this analysis board. Oh, me oh my. Yeah, I played very poorly. Hillbilly attack. Check. Nothing too crazy in the opening, I don't think. Yeah, I think G4 was probably not the strongest move. Did I miss anything here? I'm missing something pretty soon here. Here we go. D6 is a miss. I'm not sure I understand what the miss was there. So if they D6, they kick my bishop, and then force a queen trade, and weaken their king side? I'm not sure I understand that. Oh well. Yeah, before it's inaccuracy, we prepare our cannon. They do a good job. B5 was a great move, yep. Castles. 4 F6, B5. This was a mistake. What happened here? This is a, jeez, this is a 1890. A 7-move sequence. They kick my bishop away. Capture my bishop. Check. Captures, captures, captures. Okay, a 7-move sequence that I think loses me a minor piece. Well, I lost a minor piece anyway. It didn't take 7 moves. So, we'll look at that next time. Did I miss something here? This is another, like, 7-move sequence. Okay, I'm not super worried about those. Okay, this was the clear miss. Yeah. Yeah, I just fully lost a piece here. Because I failed to calculate different take orders. I had been calculating, I think, like that. But they, yeah, captured with the knight first, which, that's on me. Okay. So missed a tactical idea there. Bunch of misses. Okay. And then, yeah, a number of blunders in the end game. We don't need to see the follow-up on these. Yeah, and C3 is the biggest blunder of the game. Drawing. Yeah, white had mate in 4, mate in 5, mate in 6, mate in 2, mate in 1. Oh, just miss, 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 miss. Gotta be able to execute these. Hopefully I'll get an opportunity and I'll be able to, like I said, put my money where my mouth is on executing a checkmate. I mean, you've got 2 rooks. You can do a ladder checkmate. We'll figure that out next time. Talk to you later.